Yo, 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 yo. Let me see, get that right. All right, man. Let's see if I can get my peoples in here. Let's see. That's you. Hey, hey, peace, 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 peace. Let me see something. Um, do me a favor, y'all. Hit me up in the chat, man. Let me know. Let me know the volume good. Let me know you can hear me. Just type something in the chat for me on the sound check for me. Make sure we good. Gail, what up? Appreciate ya. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So, happy Friday. Real fast. Probably won't be on here too long. Just wanted to shoot the breeze with everybody and whatnot. But happy Friday. Just posted a new video real fast. Uploaded a video. Dealing with Yella Beezy, young Dallas rapper. Got shot at maybe about, what was that, October the 14th. So we're a little late on the news. But he's driving, 3:30 in the morning and whatnot on the highway, and car pull up and start ringing out shots. And immediately I know through hip hop history that this is the Mac Dre story playing out again. Peace to the God. You know what I'm saying? I know it's the, you know what I'm saying? I know it's the Mac Dre story playing out again. And, Mac Dre from the Bay, rest in peace. You know what I mean? Prominent figure in what we call the 90s in a sense, even 2000s. And, was leaving the concert on the highway, van pull up and start letting them bullets fly. And, I'm like, in my mind, I look at this Yella Beezy story and I'm like, oh shit, this is the same thing. This is the Mac Dre story. So I had to go back myself and look at the video, like, what did I even talk about in the Mac Dre? And that video cover was called Mars Square. And sure enough, Mars was in the square position from where it was when he was born, and Yella Beezy too. And so with Yella Beezy's case, like Mars in the sky right now is in Aquarius, but Yella Beezy was born with Mars in Scorpio, and that's a problem. That's called a square. If there's one planet that you're going to pay attention to, man, I'm telling you, it is where the position Mars is at. What up, Ernest? That's very, very important in astrological studies. Straight up, where the position Mars is. Because that's going to tell you, let me cut this furnace off. That's going to tell you where, that's going to tell you where this is the timeline where you're likely to be agitated. Bare minimum. Agitation. You may cut yourself doing stuff in the kitchen. You may burn yourself. You know what I'm saying? The little boo-boos like that. But then it turns into your house gets on fire or something. Or you get shot at. You know what I'm saying? It can get really nasty. This is a time where fights and arguments is more, you're more prone to it at this particular time. And so, again, I'm just looking at it, man. It's like, on this channel, the playlist Celebrity News and Celebrity Deaths, especially when it comes to celebrity deaths and violence, every single time we're going to show you Mars in this common denominator. I'm going to take the time out and I'm gonna put it all together when it's Mars. And I just need to really do a quick timeline video where it's just this person, Mars. And that way I know about how many. Because what Elon Musk should do is blow Mars up. Seriously. Now, historically speaking, this is something that's already on the record as being the, you know, in the Roman and Greek. In Greek it's Aries, and Mars is Roman, but it's the same energy because Mars rules Aries. You know, these are gods that are depicted as the god of war. You know what I'm saying? Tuesday is Mars Day. You know what I'm saying? So, Sunday, the day of the sun, that's Sunday, right? Monday is Moon Day. Tuesday is Mars Day. Wednesday is Mercury. Thursday, Thor is Jupiter. Friday is Venus, the goddess of beauty. This is why we go to the barbershop and get our nails done, get our hair did. That's Friday. Then Saturday is simple, Saturn's Day. So we practice these things in our daily cultures anyway over here. So we just really need to speed it up and cut the bull crap and understand why whoever came up with the days of the week, why was the emphasis put on and agreed upon, because they could have said anything, but agreed upon to allow our days to coincide to planetary bodies. Why? That's a question. So it's to prime the mind to get ready to understand universal truths. Since we live in a place, now you're starting to hear this, oh, the universe is conspiring with me. The universe. Okay, if you're going to deal with the universe, then you have to deal with things inside the universe called the solar system, particularly our solar system, because this is your immediate home. And you're going to have to deal with these planetary bodies that's going around you. Okay? And so, since Mars has already been depicted as the god of war, and then I can show you and have shown plenty of times that when this planet seems to be in a strenuous position known as a square, known as opposition, or even in the same region of space that you have another planet known as a conjunction, this seems to indicate some problems. Seriously. In astrology, it has been noted that you got two rogues of the solar system who are really they're called the malefics, and that's Saturn and Mars. Now, me and Juice say all the time, Mars got Saturn beat by far. That's the real great malefic, is Mars. So we can prove this. What if I can go inside of Mike Brown's, the police killings, and still show the Trayvon Martins, and still show you that Mars in the sky is in a strenuous position. Now, since the ancients said, as above, so below as above as well, what if we could successfully blow up the planet Mars and still be alive and everything be okay? Because there is something called the missing planet hypothesis, where former head of the United States Navy Observatory, also known as the place where the Vice President of the United States lives at, yes, the United States government, second guy in charge, the Vice President, lives at the Navy Observatory. An observatory is a place where they look at stars and planets and things. Now, they're going to tell you that they do this for PNT, positional, navigation, and timing purposes. Perfectly fine. We're on Earth in space floating, so that's fine. You got to know positioning and coordinate things, navigation, how to get there, understand it, and timing when it's going to deliver or when to execute and hit your target. Because the truth of the matter is the Department of Defense, which is the War Department, which is Mars, is 100% reliant upon astronomical data from the Navy Observatory. Facts. Google the United States Navy Observatory and tell me what their function is. Okay? So the guys that's up on the star science is really feeding mathematical equations and data for position, navigation, and time into the War Department that's on the physical plane. Okay? And so I'm just telling you how this thing goes. And so if this body in of itself represents a frequency, an energy, its color is red, it's it's energy. We in the alchemical science we call it iron. Um, if we can successfully live without it, should we? Because again, I'm gonna prove the case that we should blow it up. Absolutely. Should blow it up. And so it is said that the asteroid belt that sits in between, what's that, Jupiter and Saturn, that used to be a planet right there, but it's no longer a planet right there. In fact, even in some stories, it is said that the Great Pyramid of Egypt was used as a scalar weapon technology to basically send a beam of energy up to the planet and actually made that planet explode. Straight up. I read that before. Okay? So we're doing just fine. You know what I'm saying? What up? What up? What up? Sunshine Divine. That strokes my ego when you say stuff like that. I'm fragile. I have ego problems. But real talk. So what happens is, we gotta look at this thing like, okay, we do have asteroids. There is the asteroid belt that sits in between Jupiter and Saturn, and we are all right. If science can prove that we'd be all right, man, blow that thing up. It's also said that the Grand Canyon out west, the Grand Canyon, is said to be the aftermath of a cataclysmic event that involved Mars and the Earth. And that missing Earth, because the Grand Canyon, we've been there. Obviously, there's some Earth missing, right? Like, it's said to be the moon. And in fact, it is taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that the earth went down X amount of miles and the moon went up. And this is why the moon has this affinity, this attraction on the tides of the earth. So to a degree, it's from the earth and it's yearning to get back home, in a sense. When you start looking at it, it's just real interesting, because even in that same wisdom, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Master Farah Muhammad, talked about a civilization on Mars. Really, we can just say Master Farah Muhammad, because that's where it come from. A civilization on Mars that was hidden under the surface. And then later science catches up and say, oh shit, there's something called the Sidonian complex that's on Mars. Oh, look at this image. This image look like it's a face of a pharaoh or something on Mars. Okay? Now, either A, we're going to have to change the vibration that's coming from Mars, or you're going to have to blow this thing up. I'm serious about it, man. I'm serious about it. I'm serious about it. I'm serious about it. Because, again, if we can change the outer aspect to see if it will have an effect on the internal, or us down here, what we would call it down here, then perhaps we should. Because this energy represents anger, weapons. Or the humans on Earth can choose to totally get rid of that particular aspect of themselves. But you know what that look like? Like, that's like, oh my God. That's like, and nothing's impossible, but that's like, that's like all of your world leaders and the people, like the Christians got the Pope. Yes. In Black America, in Islam, you may have Minister Farrakhan. In Orthodox Islam, you may have you know, your Grand Sheik, whoever that may be, right? Then Black America may have whoever they may appoint. T.D. Jakes on the Christian aspect. You know what I'm saying? You can actually appoint leaders. We just don't. Representatives. And then you can actually make a mandate where government, here's a government is inside of it as well. And here's a far-fetched, crazy idea, right? But at some point, you're going to have to do this in the evolution of your soul. You're going to have to dismantle all weapons. See, if you got a weapon and you say, I'm using this for defense, you are mentally saying somebody is going to come and invade me. But if you have no weapon to invade, then nobody's going to come and invade you. But the mere fact that you're playing defense, the question that you need to ask is your defensive posture creating a scenario for you to have to enact and you have to defend yourself? That's the question. So what happens when humanity says, you know what, all like, you know, if these countries have to get rid of nuclear, we get rid of nuclear. In fact, all of everything gets sent to a big ass scrapyard. Everything, ain't nobody invading nothing. It's just commercial jets, but it ain't no military nothing. Everybody may have a right to have a national guard on deck, but there's no military nothing outside of my country where I'm patrolling the borders of international seas and I got a post over here. None of that exists no more. Everybody handle your own business and you're not allowed to leave your particular borders. That's a very, 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 very far away. But the moment that you do things like that, I'm telling you, you're going to send this universal signal that's going to go off where you can start changing the polarity of energies. If we're not going to do that, then we may have to go to the external side and say, okay, Elon, blow it up. Blow it up or put something on it to change it, man. Because I'm telling you, man, this thing is a very dangerous energy. It's dangerous, man. It's dangerous. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. I mean, it's just too many case studies that prove it. That this thing is dangerous, like clockwork. You can expect that. You can see something. You know what I'm saying? Some type of violence and whatnot. So I just really wonder, as a student, I just really wonder what happens if we did that and we can be all right. It's 48 on average, 48 million miles away from Earth. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it going to have an effect on us? I don't know. Possibly. You know, will it stop anything? Did the asteroid belt stop anything? I don't know, man. You know? So it's just food for thought, man. Elon Musk, man, should blow Mars up. In my elder days, I absolutely shall compile all of the evidence, and I shall take a turn and shall present it. Because when you look at the core of what me and my brother have, Minister Jew, I'm telling you, it's nothing short of a Nobel Peace Prize. We just spit it in the hip hop vein, in the language where, you know, the vibe, the culture understands it. The Quran says it so eloquently. You know, everyone will have a messenger speaking their own language. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, but it's nothing short of Nobel Peace Prize, because we're proving that consciousness is real, and then we're also showing how space is very intelligent. And something that I forgot to put in the video with Yella Beezy is when the planet comes through, and it's really there, you just got to be paying attention. But when the planet comes through and activates this region of space, like, you're subject to get hit again and again and again. And I'm telling you, one of the best case studies ever for me to really understand this parallel is the crane that fell on Mecca. Um, back in what's that, 2015, on September the 11th, on the 14th year anniversary of people crying about the World Trade Towers falling. The people in New York sent a negative emotion for 14 straight years. It built up in the same spot. And the jet stream took those energies and it crystallized 14 years later in Mecca, killing 111 people. 9/11, 1/11. And when you look into crane accidents, New York City back in 2008 had the deadliest crane accident on record. So the people where the towers go down at and where the people are crying at, offering this negative emotion, and who is not even subconsciously, they consciously know who did it, because we say, hey, we know who did it. You crazy, the crazy Muslims from over east, y'all flew airplanes into the building. Y'all did it. And so we have a target on who did this and who stirs this negative emotion up. And 14 years later, the energy crystallized. And I say, why 14 years later? Because it's a fact that if Saturn is at the 12 o'clock position on 9/11, 14 years later, it will be at the 6 o'clock position. Okay? And this is very, very interesting because now this oppositional point becomes a point that says, okay, I'm ready to crystallize, because Saturn is an energy of crystallization and materialization. You see what I'm saying? And so Saturn was in a position where it was finally opposite itself. You did what I'm saying? And so I should have grabbed that phone because I knew that was going to ring. But nevertheless, anyway, tell me, what are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Mars? What do you know about it? Let me grab this phone, man. But tell me what you know about it. Oh. All right. Tell me what you know about it, man. Do you know about it? Where is it at for you? You know what I mean? Because this thing is serious, man. You should know where it's at. What was Mars at for you? Like, I was born with Mars in Aquarius. So Mars is in Aquarius right now. So I knew that when it was coming into Aquarius and then it did this retrograde thing in Aquarius, that I'm like, okay, so this, I gotta watch for boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? I gotta watch for these things and whatnot. So Mars is in Gemini. So when Mars goes into Pisces, nothing happens to Scorpio. The constellation itself is still the constellation. Nothing happens to that. But when Mars in Gemini, and so next stop is Mars is going into Pisces. So that means all Piscean, and if you got energy there, you're going to get activated. Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius, you're in trouble. He coming. He coming. He coming. So if you got any planet in those signs that I just named, those mutable signs, 3, 6, 9, and 12, Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces, you up next. All right? In fact, I looked this up, but I forgot the dates. I'm going to tell you when you got to beware. So right now, the fixed signs of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, we are under, or if you got anything in this area, you are under a code red until November the 16th. November the 16th comes, Mars moves into Pisces, okay? And it will be there from November the 16th And let me go up because this is going to be in 2019. It will be there from November the 16th to January the 2nd. Then it moves into Aries, which is back home. So from November the 16th to January the 2nd, if you have any planets, I'm going to tell you the ones that you really need to pay attention to. Mercury, Sun, Moon is going to indicate your emotions in a woman. Mercury is going to be the accident, being careful with traveling, fighting with siblings, or verbal cussing somebody out. Okay? If you got Mars, it's going to be fights. All right? If it's the Sun, a conflict with masculine energy. Potentially a fight, authorities. Just get nasty. All right? Saturn is another one where it can definitely be conflicting. And Uranus, nobody over here should have Uranus up there like that. All right. So Uranus can be very dangerous and volatile because it's unpredictable. Uranus represents accidents, and then so does Mars. So that's a double accident energy. So from November 16th to January the 2nd, if you have anything in Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces, you need to watch out for real. You need this. You in the cold red from January all the way up to from November 16th to January. Then from January the 2nd, Mars is back home in Aries. All right, and that's gonna be there into February the 15th, Galileo's birthday. All right, so then all of my cardinal energies, if you got anything in Aries, anything over in Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, then you up next, and you need to watch that. All right, so that's going through all the 12 signs. Right now, we in that zone that deals with from now to November 16th, all of the fixed signs. That's 2, 5, 8, and 11. I remember by numbers. Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. Then from November the 16th to January the 2nd, then it's going to be all of my mutable signs, 3, 6, 9, and 12. Gemini, Virgo, Sag, Pisces. Then on January the 2nd to February 15th is all of the cardinal signs, which is going to be Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. It don't matter your sun sign somewhere in there, but you better understand where your own Mars is at, because this is a time of a great test. This is definitely what I call a cold red. Inside of my Astro membership, I highlight this for people. Cold red. This means you need to do a few things. One, if there's any tension that you know that you pissed off about, you better get it off your chest now. Go ahead and address it. Get it off. Second thing is you want to be careful, obviously, with sharp objects. Be careful when traveling. If you got to have the rosary beads. If you into that, the Psalms that's open, the white or gold light around your vehicle, the travel protection amulets and prayers, things of that nature. But you want to make sure your own internal energy is right first. So your attitude, what you feeling, any unresolved issues, you mad about something. Especially you water signs, and if you're a water rising sign, you may have the ability to hold in first. So Cancer rising, me, although I'm Aquarius, I'm Cancer rising. Then you would have Scorpio. Then you would have Pisces. The water signs may have a tendency to hold in energy first. You see what I'm saying? So you want to let this come out to the surface, and you want to address it. All right, so get your own energy right first, because if not, then it's going to turn into the not too good stuff. All right? And then you can worry about the vehicle and whatnot. And then when it also try to find a constructive physical outlet, because Mars wants to physically exhaust your energy. It's physical energy. So it's like yang, it's riding bikes, it's exercising, it's working out, it's sweating. And Mars don't really do good with meditation. It wants to It wants to sweat it out. It want to work it out. You know what I mean? It's physical. And so this is a time where you may feel a surge, but just be a little careful with hot items and stuff like that, because you may be a little bit more accident prone at this particular time. Okay. All right, man. That's Mars, man. Mars and Jimmy. You know what I mean? Yeah, Mars and Jimmy. So Mars and Jimmy, when Mars going to Pisces from that November range up into that January range, and you were born with Mars and Jimmy, see, Gemini is a sign of travel. So Mars triggering that, Mars square that could represent like, okay, be careful in your travels for sure. And then you might, if you got brothers and sisters, you might cuss them out during this time as well. All right. And so that's Mars, man. Elon Musk blow Mars up, man. You know what we knew. This ain't no superstition, man. This is facts. Got data on data on data. Racks on racks on racks. You know what I mean? Caseload after caseload. You know what I mean? What this energy really represent. But y'all that's listening, man, make sure. We can't blow up Mars. It rules Aries. Does that not mean Mars rules? No, we can. No, this is the thing. Consciousness prevails, man. Consciousness prevails. It's just gonna be a new day. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a new day. Mars doesn't contribute. Mars is just a reflection of the psyche. However, it is its own external body. And so, if we get rid of the body itself, can we diminish the negative qualities within ourselves, of which that represents? Humanity, I'm just gonna tell y'all, man, humanity is, especially in America, is playing with a very dangerous source. And I'm not talking about Mars. Now I'm talking about the suppressed conscious and unconscious. Let me explain that. The suppressed conscious is, and I'm gonna stand on this because I really feel some type of way about this. We failed as a collective humanity, especially those of us in the United States of America, especially those of us that are what we would call African American. We failed at fixing the water in Flint. That burns me up. That really does. I was in therapy today. All right. I'm gonna start going to therapy. Charlemagne got me convinced I need to go to therapy too. All right. I was talking to a great friend of mine, and I'm like, I don't have any unresolved issues. But when I think about it, I do have some things that bother me. The water in Flint bothers me. So that's what I mean by the suppressed consciousness, because we know that we could do better and we chose not to do better. The suppressed consciousness is when you see this dialogue about the injustices, and then nobody is saying the freaking obvious. Like the obvious is, oh, I tell you what, Trump, this is what we really need. Anytime that a police officer, don't matter the color of the officer, don't matter the color of the victim, anytime that an officer kills a citizen in his life, the officer's life was not threatened, meaning the person wasn't trying to knuckle him up, the person didn't have no pull out no weapon on him, running away is not threatening. But if a person is resisting and trying to swab you, you don't know what that can lead to. You don't know if he's going to knock you out, pull the pistol out from your holster, and jam you with it. Like, I understand that. You understand what I'm saying? And so if the footage shows that there was no threat on your life, there is a federal mandate that states you get arrested on the spot, you blow, it ain't no trial, and you go straight to the penitentiary for life. Period. End of discussion. There is no defense for that. It just is what it is, right? So then you're going to hear people crying about the democracies, the right of free trial. Listen, man, what we call the forefathers just gave us a template. these things can be amended. That's the whole purpose of an amendment. These things can be amended. But nobody's having that conversation about the obvious, right? So, okay. So that's what I mean by the suppressed conscious, right? But then you got the suppressed unconscious, which is really the danger zone. Because what we don't know is the emotional anger of watching these factual events, the Mike Browns, the Sandra Blands, The Hate We Give, even the movie. That emotion that we have is an energy that we're giving off. And then we'll go out and we'll have dialogue about it. And then CNN is covering it. Then we're all focused in on it with a negative, elevated emotion. That negative, elevated emotion is recorded in space called 9/11. Okay, if that's the date. Like I just gave the example with the crane on 9/11 and they gave it back to Mecca. You see what I'm saying? So our negative unconscious, because we're not aware of what's taking place, our negative emotion serves as the future stimuli and ingredients to act out another event to awaken our conscious self so we can fix it so it would never happen again. Or else you're just going to keep on crying about, oh, I got the flu. You got this problem, you got this problem. And it's like, the body don't work that way. Consciousness don't work that way. It's like problem, solution. If it ever comes up again, you know how to fix that. But it shouldn't come up again because now you know what the issue is, right? So that becomes the real problem. And so when I say blow that up, man, I'm really talking about, I know that looking at where we at, we're really waiting for, we're unconsciously waiting for, and this is the dangerous part, a devastating event that is way worse than Hurricane Katrina, that is way worse than, nothing's going to happen worse than the civil rights era. That's not happening. That's not in our lifetime. You'll never see it in your great grandkids. You ain't going to see it. You're not going to see it. Not domestically. That's not happening. And so it's almost, and I said it today on Twitter, what black folks are really doing, they're waiting for the second coming of Abraham Lincoln. That's what they're really doing. It's like we're waiting for a new federal mandate, a proclamation part 2 that has more than a declaration. It has some activity inside of it. Like, hey, Wayne County is now the 51st state. Chicago, Illinois is now the 51st state. Chicago is its own nation state and is no longer under the jurisdiction of Illinois. It's its own thing. I mean, there's talk about that. There's some people in Illinois that's pissed because they feel like all the money is going towards Chicago. And it's like, yo, there's so much other stuff going on. Let Chicago exist by its own. We want to secede from Chicago and we have our own thing going. Like, that's dialogue, real talk. So we're not having that kind of conversation. Far solution-orientated things. You see what I'm saying? And then that psychosis, that emotion, that mental problem that we have, because we got to have a mental problem not to put this kind of stuff on the line, right? Or we just horribly slow. And that's not what it is. We're afraid. We're scared to death. And rightfully so, because they burned Black Wall Street. Martin Luther King got assassinated. You know, you still see cops who get desk duty, and they just now, to a degree, seem like they just now starting to reprimand cops who are found, you know, they're finally being found guilty, right? So this is like fresh wounds that triggers what I call the post-traumatic slave syndrome that we have. You know what I'm saying? And the anger that we have, but we're not transmuting the anger by ourselves. One, we don't know where to go. We don't know what to do. So you can get mad at the Minister Farrakhan, all you want to, because he said, hey, everybody up in here, you going to Dianetics. I don't give a damn what y'all talking about. Y'all about to go and get clear because you got mental problems. You can't get mad because there wasn't another alternative. Even if it was an alternative, you just can't get mad for the action of what that symbolizes. You got mental engrams, as they call it. You got problems, man. We got problems, man. We crazy, man. We crazy as a motherfucker. We crazy. Tell me we crazy. You know what I'm saying? And so the planet that represents this violent force, blow it up and see. Because it is clear that we are waiting for an external source, man. Whether it be Jesus, whether it be the government saying, leave black folks alone. Like, you gotta understand this, man, that, you know, I'm sorry, man, just gotta tell it, man. The African Americans did not get out of slavery from a successful slave rebellion. That's the truth. That ain't happened. It didn't happen. That was not how it happened. Everybody wasn't Nat Turner. Everybody wasn't Harriet Tubman. Let's just tell the truth. The slaves in America were not like the Haitian revolutionaries. Nope. That ain't how it happened, man. That ain't how it happened. One group of white folks got mad at another group of white folks, and by the way of something called the Civil War, black folks was able to get out that situation. And I don't care what you tell me, here go the beautiful part about it. Black folks were able to get in the Northern Army and come back and shoot at white people who enslaved them, like literally. Like, so I don't care if you're into that conspiracy stuff. We eat that up. But like, come on, man, for real. Like, you had literally a real shot at coming right back down south. Like, oh, you Confederate, bam, Confederate, bam. You know what I'm saying? You had a shot. And so my point is, we gotta learn how to transmute that shit, man. And since we waiting for this external force, once again, whether it be Santa Claus, whether it be Jesus, or whether it be Abe Lincoln, or whether it be God, or whether it be, I don't know, a new wave of energy that comes and trickles down, and all of a sudden humanity has this aha moment. We probably need to work with the external first, man, because this internal process is on human terms, it's a long and arduous task. But it's happening, though. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely happening. When you look in at the timeline of history, you know what I'm saying? Which ain't long at all in the United States of America. It ain't long at all. You know what I mean? So Elon Musk blow Mars up and make it stardust. You know what I'm saying? For real. Because we still are who we are. It's like the asteroid belt. You got asteroids named Juno and Phallus, Athena, and we've been noted in this science that them asteroids represent, hey, Juno is a good marker to tell you about a marriage partner. And it is. It is. I've done my own case study on it. So like, it's still there, but I just want to know, it's just an experiment. You know, as a scientist, A, are we going to survive? Yes. B, fuck it, blow it up. We're going to survive, blow it up. But so what's going to happen if we can survive? Like, what, like, come on. You know what I mean? Blow it up. All right? So I just want to dialogue with y'all real fast, man. Y'all got anything on your mind? Any questions? Shoot it to me. I'm open for a little Friday night powwow with y'all. A little Friday night session. Any questions? Any questions whatsoever? Now is the time. Man, we about to come out with a banging new show in 2019. Me and the Prime Minister in the same building, same studio. I ain't telling y'all the name of it, but it's going to be phenomenal. 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 It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope. Yeah, I got a question. Anybody? Question? Chart? Anything? Feel free if you got a question. I kind of went live right after I uploaded that video, so check out the video. Well, Saturn. I'm only picking on Saturn. I mean on Mars because again, like people get shot, man. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, people get shot. Mars is a violent thing. Saturn's energy could be violent, but it's always in conjunction with something else. In of itself, it represents responsibility and it can slow things down as well. But I've seen, Saturn is the planet of a billionaire, man. Like this is major success. Mars is a rogue. And plus, see, Saturn only takes 2.5 years to rotate through a sign. It takes, on average, what we could say 28, 29 years to go full circle. Mars is moving, you see them timelines I just gave y'all? Like 2 months. You know what I mean? Not even that in some constellations. Some constellations are a little smaller. Like 2 months in the sign. That thing is moving fast. You know what I'm saying? And it's creating all this, it's the drama. When you look at the landscape, our problem ain't with Saturn. The only problem we got with Saturn is our lack of responsibility. We don't like to be responsible and we don't like to be timely. You know what I'm saying? We like to be lackadaisical. We actually need that. For real, for real. It's Mars. It's the burns. It's the... Because, Mars represents sexual passion. So you can put Mars in conjunction to some rape. For real, for real. You know what I'm saying? So Mars is... Gotta go. I got a crow that been talking to you. Oh, okay. So yeah. So, I haven't published it at all. Maybe in 18. I'm gonna start publishing it again. On that whole Democratic thing. So let me pull something up real fast. What we got? What's in the sky? What's in the sky? Where Mars? Mars and Aquarius. Mercury, Sun now, Venus, even Jupiter. You got 4 bodies that are in Scorpio right now. Mars being in Aquarius is squaring off on these energies. And there's a rhythm that goes with national things that make national news, like the Boston Marathon bombing, things of that nature. There's a certain cosmic groove, a rhythm that takes place, that all of these things are on a particular clock. And so I'm going to start publishing those again. I call them cold red days. Yesterday you would see that kind of stuff happen on. And unfortunately, as of right now, it appears to be that the most susceptible of humans, because here's the thing. If I can tell you that this day in the future, XYZ is going to happen, and then somebody carries out that event and they do it, then the question is, how did that person come under such influence? Because all I'm looking at is planetary energy. So to a degree, it's like they're susceptible to an energetic suggestion. I always use the sun as an example. The sun shining on you, you can wear a coat or you could wear some shorts, totally up to you. But it's like the light rays that you're feeling, the temperature that you feel is making a suggestion to you. the mind is the activating ingredient of all of this, because you know how much crazy stuff you think about that you don't do, but you come on across your mind, because the mind is just naturally like that. So I think, because I think about a lot of crazy stuff. You know, if you want to be totally real, what you think about, you know, and so what I think about it, I just think it's on a certain rhythm. And in 2019, I'm gonna start talking about that rhythm again, and most importantly, start doing some. You got to do what Jose Arguelles did in 1987 when they did the harmonic conversion, where people met up all over the earth to have like this day of converging and energy. They met at sacred points all over the earth, pyramids. Um, right now in the European community, they're doing coherence projects where they're purposely meditating on days to see if they could effectively change the magnetic field of the earth. And they have instruments that measure that. We have to get on that type of frequency. You know what I'm saying? It was back in 87, they called it the day out of time. You know, in 1987, everybody was meeting all over the earth. One of the major problems was melanated people, black folks, wasn't involved in it because you wasn't on that kind of science in 87. So we got to start participating in things like that. I always say, can you imagine at the Million Man March, if we all gave, even if we all repeated the same prayer, the same chant, the same mantra, the same whatever, if we all have the same intention when there's millions of us together. I'm a firm believer in God so much that you get that kind of energy together and you say, God, everybody concentrate on turning the sky purple. I believe the sky is going to turn purple right in front of everyone. I think today our leaders don't make those kind of requests and demands, because if it don't happen, then you will look like God has not chosen you and you will look crazy. But we got to get to that point where we could, you know, make that call and make that shift. And in doing that shift, Elon Musk must blow up Mars. For real, blow up Mars, man. All right, so I'll take one more, man. If not, I'm gonna get off this thing and get to work. You know what I mean? Yeah, no. Yeah, man, get a Zodiac shirt. MyZodiacShirts.com. MyZodiacShirts.com is where we at. MyZodiacShirts.com. You got a question? Anybody? One more? Give me a final question. Give me a final question. I want to take one more. About to get ready to shoot this other video tomorrow. Go down to some of my historical properties. Got y'all need to get in this real estate, man. Stop playing around. And I get on wealth building. Switching it up in 19, really going all hard. I already switched it up, but I'm really going all hard. And, you know, who amongst your family is going to take the millionaire pledge, where you want to be the first one to break the bonds of poverty? And again, if you are born into it and you got access to it, then shit, hit me up. Let me know, because we need some help. And but not only that, man, like we got some amazing real estate opportunities with properties, buying them and rehabbing them, and you know, fix them and put them right back on the market. And it's amazing opportunity. So if you are wealthy and you are a at least five digits, and I'm not saying that's wealthy, but at least 5 digits, you know what I mean, 10,000 and 99,000, please holla at us, help us out. Because we are on this year, we bought 4 houses this year, sold one this year and bought 4. 2017, we bought 1 house. 2018, this year, sold that house, bought 2 historical properties and 2 properties that were rehabbing. So we say that we flipped. So my 2 historical ones, going to visit those for the first time. I'm buying property, never even been there, but going to actually visit those and shoot some footage tomorrow in front of those. And the 2 flips are being rehabbed in the process. And so, you know, if you have it and you know you wealthy, then please give us a call. You know what I mean? But if you're not, what are we gonna do to get there? You know, that's the real challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we create wealth? And I'm talking money. You dig? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Dawn, what's happening? What would a true node? 10 degrees Sag, man. All right, so the true node is the North Node, and it's absolutely my favorite piece of the astrological pies, the cherry on top of the whipped cream. You know what I'm saying? And it signifies what your soul is here to learn. What are you here to do? Nah, this not in Philly, man. This not in Philly. This is in the Midwest. The Rust Belt is where it's popping at. No, I don't buy no houses in Philly, man. I don't understand the Philly market as of right now. Cause there's more row homes and stuff. You know what I mean? It ain't hard to figure out. I'm just not in it. I'm in love with single family homes. I don't like row homes. I don't like the fact that my neighbor house catch on fire and shit, and mine's is gonna catch on fire because we share the same walls. And I call that, like, in my mind, when I first went east and I saw that, I like, these are not houses. You can't call that a house if we share a wall. Like, if I can kick in the wall and be in your house, that's not a house. That's an apartment. Stop playing with me, you know what I mean? But anyway, I like the Rust Belt. You know what I'm saying? So Chicago, Indianapolis, Columbus, Ohio, Cleveland, Detroit, St. Louis, where the old steel mills used to be. To me, in my opinion, that's where it's a lot of value at. Um, the North Node is um, it's your soul's mission. Now it's very unique because um, in Vedic astrology, Eastern astrology, this is known as Rahu. This is known as the dragon's head. So it's malefic. It's a point of force that it's like it's you got to grow, and oftentimes we don't want to grow. So when this energy is activated, it's not nice. Chris Brown and Rihanna had this where one person's sun was directly on the other person's north node, and this turns violent. This turns nasty because there's growing pains that's involved when that node is activated, oftentimes. Of course, the level of consciousness of the individuals play the best part of this whole thing. And it is the determining factor of how it's going to be defined. Remember, in the brain, there's a gland on both sides called the amygdala. I call it the Amy G Dala. That's how it's spelled. A-M-Y, Amy, G, as in God and gangster, Dala, like the Dalai Lama. So the amygdala. But the Amy G Dala is responsible for stamping experiences with a positive emotion or a negative charge. But it's only getting its orders from your perception. So when my daughter sees Spider, it's always out the room she comes, come get me. I got to deal with it because she can't deal with it. And it's a freaking spider. What's wrong with you, little girl? And you know how girls are with spiders. And so our perceptions are different. Her amygdala keeps stamping spider as negative no. But for me, it's like, shit, man, I rock with the spider. Because if there's any other little critters in here, then, you know, little bugs, then, you know, spider gonna get him. So I let spiders go. I don't kill them. I take them, put them in a napkin, let them go outside. Get out of here. So the amygdala in the brain is responsible for stamping your experiences. You really have to understand the power of your mind. Okay, nothing is negative or positive. It is your perception of it that gives it definition and value. And so the North Node being our soul's mission, what we're here to complete, that's what it is. In Sag, it means you're here to grow into philosophies. You're here to learn how to potentially travel the world. You know what I mean? Get outside of your domestic home, literally. And, you know, I think everybody has a place overseas, a desired place that they would like to go. But for you, whatever school of thought that has your interest, if it's Buddhism, you need to go to Tibet. If it's Hinduism, go to India. If it's Tantra, go to India. Like, you really need to go to these places, wherever you get your spiritual and philosophical food from. Even religion is the ninth house in Sag. Then you need to physically go there as well. And when you have energy in Sagittarius or the ninth house, same frequency, what happens is, I can pretty much guarantee you'll find a guru. The ninth house is the house of the guru. Like, I got a ninth house sun because I was born at a specific time where the sun was in the southern portion of the sky. And so, you know, you're going to find that person that's going to be willing to assist you and teach you, because that's why you go in there anyway. It's kind of like making Hajj. And so, you know, for the Muslims, have to travel east if you're doing a physical journey, and they go to Mecca to make Hajj. Well, when the North Node is in Sagittarius, you got to make a Hajj. You have to make travel, and you have to study something that's going to expand your awareness. So whatever has your interest, you're here to grow into that. And then Sagittarius is the philosopher, which means you have to, which is the teacher, the college professor. Whatever it is that you learn, then it becomes paramount that you share and teach that information that you learn. So this is why you can go get the lineage secrets and they impart this wisdom on you, so you can come back to the West and they will authorize you to teach it. That's what that means. All right. All right. Alrighty, man. So I'll get with y'all. If y'all need me, you want to holler at me, man, call the number 267-403-4078 if you want to bust it up, man. All right. Peace.